All right, welcome. So in this video, we're going to be going over on how to actually write really compelling scripts for your actual creatives, okay? A lot of guys, what they like to do when they first get started testing, you can run with RIP, get started testing, right? You validate the product, maybe it works, maybe it doesn't, whatever. That's very surface level when it comes to actual marketing and understanding your customer audience, understanding the market, where they're currently at, how sophisticated they actually are. You don't do any research. And that's why a lot of your guys' ads just simply don't work because you fail to actually do the research. Now, honestly, I don't think it's really your guys' fault at all. When you look on YouTube and stuff, they don't really tell you on how to actually do research. They don't show you the step-by-step analysis on how to actually do competitive research, do script research as well for your customer avatar, for the product that you're selling, how to set up unique mechanisms for your product as well, what authority figures that would actually utilize so it makes sense for your market. No one tells you how to do that, honestly. And yeah, so I'm just going to kind of show you my workflow. If you guys like it, steal it. I don't really care. And yeah, kind of just going to be going over everything. Now, this is one thing I like to do for me whenever I test products nowadays or test brands, like really get a brand off from the ground up. I do a lot of research. It's back in the day, you would test products, you'd see a product, rip some creatives, make a decent landing page, and just rip it, call it good to go, and launch within 1 to 2 hours. Nowadays, I don't do that at all. Honestly, I spend around 3 to 4 hours of preparation before I even write a single line of copy, before I even think about writing my scripts. Okay, so I'm going to be showing you guys my thought process on going through this entire workflow, just so you guys have a lot more confidence when you guys are actually testing creatives. You're going in with proven angles, one, you're going in with unique angles, and then you're going in with very confirmed, well-documented creative structures that actually work for your market. This goes for anyone. Even if you guys already have a brand, utilize this workflow. This is going to help you guys dramatically when it comes to scripting, when it comes to understanding your market and through and through. Okay. Now, obviously, before we do this, we have to find a product and actually have a product to test. And the good news is about this, we can validate that there's actually room in the market before we go ahead and do all this work. And it's pretty straightforward and easy. Okay. So for example, I just pulled up a product. Now, you guys will probably laugh. You're like, all right, cool, whatever. This product is very saturated, obviously. But I like to test really saturated products nowadays. I like to launch brands that are in competitive niches. That means money's flowing in that niche. And with my skills with scripting, marketing, video editing, everything, right? I know I can probably potentially crack into the market. Okay, so with this product, and honestly, I just want to show you guys how to actually do the same. So with this product, obviously, 700K in the last 30 days. Maybe that's high or low. Kayla data isn't exactly fully correct all the time. The last, 180 days, they've done 4, maybe 5 mil in revenue. So it's a decently proven product, right? I would say so. And it's hitting on a huge insecurity, right? People losing hair, men, women, whatever it may be, and just showing fuller, thicker hair, whatever it may be, beard or hair, doesn't matter. Maybe eyebrows as well. Again, so like that market is not going to go away. It's an evergreen niche. This will always be around here. Now, the mechanism to deliver that result, i.e. the product, will probably change. People want newer stuff. This is a newer rendition of oils or shampoos or whatever it may be. It's just a little bit newer. That's why it's popping off. Same core human desires underneath it. It's just a different mechanism giving to the end consumer that, it frames it in their head as new. Anyways, so with this product, what you want to do is you go on Kayla Data, you find a cool product you like. It doesn't have to be on Kayla Data. It can be on anything. I'm just using this as an example. This product is good. All right, it's saturated, but it's proven to sell. Now, if you go over to Amazon as well, Amazon's selling around 1,000 to 3,000 units a month. Not horrible, but there's room in the market, right? So that means, around 700K is getting pushed through TikTok Shop, additional, let's say around maybe 500, 600K on Amazon. Then what I like to do, I just go ahead, copy the name, go over to Facebook, and I want to see if anyone's running this on Facebook, obviously. So with this, there's 522 ads on the low end, realistically, probably with like different keywords and stuff. There's probably at least bare minimum 1,000 ads running in this niche. Now, a lot of guys, what they like to do, if they don't really know a lot about marketing, and it's also easier to do it that way, is you go over to Kayla Data, you see a product recently ripping and doing well, but no one's running on Facebook, and so you just go ahead and take up the market share. That is very easy to do, and it doesn't take any skill when it comes to marketing at all. All right. So with this, you're actually flexing your marketing skills. You're actually becoming a better marketer by doing it this way. It's not the easy way. It's not the sexy way, but this is the way you actually start harnessing your skills. Okay, cool. So what I like to do, I go in here, type in the main keyword, and then I go ahead and pick out 5 to 6 different competitors. I went ahead and did that. Okay. So with these competitors, some have a shit ton of ads, some don't. So the biggest competitor is this guy right here. If this is your store, I'm sorry, but so they're running 222 ads or 20 ads. This is the biggest competitor. Normally, I want to see around that 300 mark when it comes to creative production. More than likely, they actually probably have more under different pages. That's why I'm assuming. But 220 is not bad. Okay. So the biggest competitor under that is this guy. So he has 130 active ads. And then some other guys they recently launched. They have 18, 14, 12. 40, right? So I have around 5 to 6 different competitors that are a handful of them are decently new and launched, which is honestly a good sign. And some guys that have been around for a little bit. Now, after I do this, again, this takes like 5 minutes worth of research. What I'm going to do is copy the brand name. And then I'm going to go over to this tool called TrendTrack.io. I haven't seen a lot of people talk about this app, but it's really good. I'm not affiliated by any means, but they are really, really solid. So what you want to do is come over to TrendTrack, come down here to Brand Tracker, click on Brand Tracker. When you click on there, you're going to click on Add a brand. And so you can either put in their Facebook URL, or I'm sorry, Facebook name, or you can actually place in their URL right down here. Anyways, once that actually gets linked up and everything is connected, now you want to click into it. And I want to show you guys the power of this tool. Okay. So we come over here to Creative Library. We want to see the ads that they have launched and then, how many active ads they actually have. Now you can see here, there's starting to be a downscale. Could be good, could be bad, but we need to do some actual analyzation, see what they're doing. So I want to run through a couple different tabs. So this one tab is called the testing tab. This shows you the creatives that they're actively testing every single day, what's active, what's inactive. But what's really cool is you come down to here and you can actually pull their winning creatives. this image ad, low impressions for now. I guess they're descaling this, but it's cool. They highlight the actual impressions of their winning ads, so you can actually see what's working for them, what angles they're doing, etc. Now that's a little bit more manual work. What you can do, and what I highly recommend, is come over here to hooks and scripts. Click on this, and you're going to go over to a year of their hook and scripts. Okay, so what you're going to do is, so you can toggle between hooks and scripts. Cool. In here you'll be able to see for the hooks, for the scripts, is how many ads that they're running. So ads, 5 ads, max duration, how many days that they're actually running. Right. Cool. And then if you scroll all the way down here, you can go to 100 per page. Really cool. So now with this information, obviously you can read all this if you want to, or you come over to this export tab and you're going to click all JSON. Okay. So you can just export the hooks and metrics, or you can just export the actual transcripts, or you can do both the hooks and transcripts. So what I like to do is you can do all, that's perfectly fine, or you can just do transcripts. Okay. Now, once you download transcripts, all right, once you do transcripts, what you're going to do is come over to Claude. All right, so I already did this, but for this, I just went ahead and uploaded the CSV here. And then I went over to chat and I asked it to write me a highly detailed prompt for a competitor analysis on the angles, methodologies, mechanisms that they are actually using to sell the product, and whether determine if there's an actual gap that we can actually enter into the market to sell this product. Now, again, when we enter this market, I don't want to be selling the same exact angles and the same exact way that they're marketing, because then I'm just competing against them, and they already have 200 ads, right? They already have 200 ads active. They're scaling, or they've been running for a while. They're doing 10, 20, 30K a day. It's going to be very hard for me to compete when I'm testing with $100 or $300 a day, right? So we need to come into the market with a brand new angle or mechanism or authority figure that's going to make ourselves different than what the entire market is currently doing. Awesome. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and copy this prompt and slap it into Claude. And this will just tell Claude, deeply analyze everything and give me just overall summary of what you think. Now, when Claude gave me this report, deliverables across 308 ads, it came here with our biggest openings. So beard growth is a primary positioning. Awesome. Identify masculinity, top of the funnel creative. Okay, cool. All right, interesting. We can actually look into you can honestly do the angle of looks maxing and stuff like that. Because if you come into here, a lot of these brands, or stores, I should say, either their branding isn't really done correctly, or they all look the same. So that's another huge vantage point. Whenever I'm looking at these stores and stuff, I'm looking at their branding. How are they positioning themselves in the market? Everyone looks like they're selling the same exact product, and because they are, right? So obviously it works, but this light blue and everything like that, it just looks, not all that good. And so that's another thing I like to identify. Is there a gap in the market for me to actually come in here with better branding and to knock these guys out, right? Awesome. So Claude went ahead and gave us some more educational authority content. Okay, cool. We can hit on that for authority. A real brand voice. Every competitor is basically doing the same exact kind of thing. If you can lead with more of a founder-led brand, which is cool, and masculine identity. Again, a lot of these brands don't have really a masculine identity when it comes to their landing pages. It looks fine. It looks cheap though, right? It doesn't scream masculine by any means, which is fine if they want to sell to men and women. It looks more clinical, I guess. But that helps us with our positioning. All right, cool. We know we can come in here with more of an authority figure, founder-led brand. Now, you don't have to be the founder. You can create it with AI and stuff, right? So we can come in here with a masculinity angle, with more of a well-constructed brand identity, more of authority figure content, hitting on the looks maxing stuff as well. That can be a huge authority figures. You can have a bunch of clips in there with looks maxers actually using it and doing it. And then beard growth as well for primary positioning. Awesome. So there's a gap in the market for us to go ahead and start doing this deep research. Now, it did bring me a full report. I'd recommend saving this full report, and I'll show you why a little bit later. Also, once we get done with doing this next phase, what I highly recommend is going into Trend Tracker and going in there and saving the brands and doing that same exact method, what we just did across 3 or 4 brands. So this brand has 130. I want to see what angles, I want to see what mechanisms that they're using to sell the product, and I want to feed that back into Claude, right? Awesome. Okay, so next we are moving on to the foundational documents. Okay, so now we have our competitor analysis briefly done. Again, I highly recommend you do this across multiple brands to actually get the best intake on where the market currently is. Now we're going to do these foundational documents. Now these are going to be the absolute base of everything that we're going to be doing. Okay, these are your core, these are your Bible of your product, and I want to explain why. Now, I didn't come up with the foundational documents. I actually got it from Mark Builds Brands. Obviously, if you're watching this channel, you've probably heard of him. His was pretty good, but however, it wasn't as in-depth as I like to be when I'm doing my research. But his 4 foundational documents were pretty damn solid. But I just built off top of that, off of the knowledge and research I've done when it comes to direct response marketing. And I think it's a little bit, I know it's well more put together than his. But no shade. If you guys want to go follow him too, go for it. He has a lot of good content. Okay, so the first foundational document is deep research. This will be going ahead and doing deep research on your competitors, on the product itself, what people are saying on Reddit, YouTube, everything. It's getting the exact customer and the way that they're speaking on, again, their demographic, psychology, existing solutions, voice of competitor language, etc. So it'll do all that deep research for you, and we'll go ahead and do this together. I'm just going to run through these 10 documents so you'll understand what we're doing. Now, research foundational doc 2 is the customer avatar sheet. This will just let you know who's your customer avatar. Normally, for each brand I kind of run, it's around 3 to 5 different customer avatars that I kind of identified. Now, again, you can have more or less. It doesn't really matter. But this will identify your customer avatars. Again, what problems that they have, what internal monologues. This is really important. Their internal monologues, it's actually going inside their head, desire identity, kill switches, etc. Really, really good doc. All right. So order brief, offer brief. This will just recommend kind of just different offer structures, what people are currently doing in the marketplace and how you can make yourself a little bit different. You don't need this doc, in my opinion. You can come up with your own offer because just by analyzing competitors. But this is still good to do though. Now the next doc necessary beliefs and belief ladders. This is really important. Obviously, people need to have the necessary beliefs to actually go ahead and pull on their emotions to make them actually want to buy the product. They need to have these beliefs installed in their psyche before they're actually going to be pulling the trigger and buying. And the belief ladder. The belief ladder are different stages of beliefs the customer needs to be in. If X, Y is true, then this must be true. Then your product is the end result. Will actually get them there. That's just a brief overview of that. Now, foundational doc 5 is mapping human core desires. Okay, so this is massive. Now, everyone has obviously the core human desires. From scientific advertising. Eugene Schwartz, just at the hierarchy of there are around 5 different core desires that people have, and we're just matching it to our product, right? This is very, very important to have. Probably one of the most important docs. After the deep research, core desires, mapping the core desires to your product is absolutely foundational. So yeah. All right, so this one's also very important. 5 doubts removal system. Okay, so what this is, all 5 doubts, when it comes to your guys' creatives, all doubts have to be removed from the customer's psyche for them to actually purchase. And what are these doubts? Doubts 1, is this actually real? Is this legitimate? Is a legitimate company? Whatever. Does this actually make sense? What you're saying inside the creative, the story or the narrative that you're pushing, psychologically, can this make sense to where your customer is at? If it doesn't make sense, then it's not going to, obviously, the scam filter is going to go up and they're just going to bounce. They don't want to be, they're not going to watch your ad. Could this actually work specifically for me? So you're introducing, especially when you're going into your creatives, you're introducing or you're coming into the creative with a conversation that the customer is already having inside of their head, okay? And you're basically showing them, whenever you're writing copy for landing pages or creatives, you're basically holding up a mirror to your customer. The whole goal, the entire goal of marketing and copywriting and scripting is holding up that mirror to the customer. And you want to be them feeling, whenever they're watching your ad, is like, hey, that is me. That is where I'm at. That is exactly how I feel. That is what makes a very, very good ad, because it just flies under the radar. All right, are other people doing this? Social proof, show people actually utilizing the product, getting fucking results before and afters, etc. Now, doubt 5, is it safe to try? All right, so whether this may be, is it going to burn your skin, or maybe a financial guarantee, or a warranty, whatever that may be, you're trying to reduce that risk that people have in their mind. Like, hey, this is 100%. If you don't absolutely love the product, no worries. We'll give you 100% refund or whatever. Okay. So very, very important to remove all 5 doubts, and you need to know the 5 doubts before you can start writing a lick of copy, either for your landing pages or your creatives. All right, core mechanisms. This is very important. All right, this is just, again, more of like the foundational of direct response marketing. What makes your product different than what's on the competitive landscape? All right, what are the core things that make your product work, and how to stack them and layering them so it's actually believable to the market? Okay, this doc is very, very important. That's why I have it in the foundational documents, because we're really mapping the core desires over to the core mechanisms. It's very, very important that you do this. All right, competitive intelligence gap. Again, basically what we've just done, you're going to do that with a handful of different brands with Trend Track. This doc will help map all that inside of your Claude project. All right, creative format and architecture. What creative styles are people rocking with? And then finally, creative diagnosis system. Okay, so with what kind of creatives are people actually rocking with, and what kind of creative should you actually be starting when you're launching? Very long-winded, I know, apologies for that. But what we're going to do here is go ahead and download this, okay? We're going to download this PDF. And now we are making our way over to Notebook LM. We're going to upload this. I already did this, but basically just explains what it is. And it's going to start writing out these foundational documents for us, okay? So what I'm going to do is go over to Amazon, copy the link, go back to here. Jeez, I can't spell. All right, so what I basically did here is now for this first foundational document, it's going to be doing deep research. I said, go ahead and create me a highly detailed prompt to actually do the deep research. And that's what Notebook LM is doing right now. All right, now that we have the prompt, we're going to go over to ChatGPT, and it's going to do the deep research for us. So we're going to just place in this prompt that Notebook LM actually made for us. Let's go ahead and do this. And select deep research. All right, cool. So whenever you ask Notebook LM, you go ahead and write everything out for the prompts that you're going to be doing for the first foundational document. It's going to give you this first prompt, right? So this is just going to be a screenshot of your landing page. Obviously, you don't have a landing page yet, so you don't have to do this part, or you can do your competitors. That's what I like to do. All right, prompt 2, this will actually teach it how to conduct deep analysis and research. So we're just going to go ahead and copy this prompt. So that first foundational document has 3 separate prompts in there. Notebook LM will obviously do it for you. Now, when you can do the deep research on Notebook LM if you want. I like to separate it and keep it clean. Because whenever you start doing that, you start bloating the context. I'm trying to reduce context bloat as much as possible, especially if I'm using any, doesn't matter what platform, any AI model, like it could be Notebook LM, ChatGPT, Claude, stuff like that. Now, I use ChatGPT for mostly of the research docs. From what I've seen, so obviously Claude is a lot smarter when it comes to synthesizing information, and that's why I use Claude for the project where all these prompts will be in. I'll show you how to do that. But I love using Chat to go ahead and actually creating these foundational documents. It's really good at actually just building out core foundational documents. It's not really good for creative writing. Everyone knows that. And it's not really good for complex reasoning and synthesizing information. Inside of our Claude project, we're going to be giving a lot of context and information. And what I've seen with Claude, it doesn't seem to lose that aspect to it. So anyways, getting back to the workflow. So we're going to go ahead and copy the second prompt. This one should be done. Okay, awesome. Let's go ahead and place this in here. All right, awesome. Now it's done with that second prompt. So we can go ahead and place in this third one. This one will actually go ahead and do this deep research. So we're going to select deep research for this and press enter. And while that does that, when we come back to it and actually has a research done, this will go ahead and compile a 6-page deep research document for this product. All right, awesome. Now that this is done, we're going to go ahead and download this and export this PDF. Now, what I want you guys to do is go ahead, when you guys are doing this, is just go ahead and set up a Google Drive, whatever the product is called, and then the foundational documents tab as well. I like to stay organized. So we're going to throw this deep research PDF in here. That's foundational doc 1. Awesome. Now what we're going to do is feed it back into ChatGPT. And we are going to go ahead and work on the first prompt for foundational doc 2. So we're going to copy this prompt and slap it in here. All right, now we're moving on to prompt 2 for, this is for foundational document 2 as well. So, all right, with this first prompt, it already mapped out the customer avatars, which is great. Now we're going to put into one more prompt. Let you go do that. And this third prompt is going to tie pretty much everything together. Now that second prompt that we gave it is a psychological profile. So that was just, that first prompt was mapping out the avatars, their actual identities. And then this is the psychological profiles. This third prompt is kill switches, creative routing, and it basically ties everything together. All right, cool. So that second prompt is done. Now we're starting to see it's coming together a bit more. We have the customer avatar and then their emotional entry points as well when it comes to the creatives. So we know how to speak to them, the problem history, past failures. So we're really getting to understand the deep psychological triggers of our customer avatars. We're just going to let this finish populating, and then we're going to send off the third and final prompt, and then it's going to tie everything together for foundational document 2 for customer avatars. All right, cool. So that is done now. I'm going to run through this. So this is the entire customer avatar sheet, just so you guys can see basically how powerful this actually is. Come over to here. I'll just go with the first customer avatar. Scroll all the way up. All right, so first customer avatar. It basically just goes over the creative routing, like what kind of creatives will actually speak to this customer avatar, their belief gaps, doubt profile, and the avatar interaction map as well. So it really does like a super deep analysis of each customer avatar, which is absolutely amazing. All right, so coming to here, you're going to copy that, slap this into Google Docs, and we are going to go ahead and download this. Download this, and we're going to throw it into our foundational documents in Google Drive, and I'm going to re-download this customer avatar sheet as well. Now we're going to come back to ChatGPT again, and we're going to upload the customer avatar sheet and the deep research doc that we've done, and we're feeding it back into ChatGPT, and now we are moving on to foundational document 3 for the order brief itself. So we're just going to go ahead and copy this prompt Google LM gave us. Let's go ahead and actually just do this one. And send that off and see what it comes back with. All right, cool. So offer brief is done. We're going to just go ahead and copy this, slap this into a Google Doc. Download this, same kind of thing, right? We're just throwing this into our Google Drive, make sure we're just staying organized. Now, after this, since we've been in the same chat for a couple of threads, to reduce context flow, I just go to a new one, and it's fine because we're giving it all the foundational documents that we already have created. So it has a lot of context, and we're feeding it, and it's fresh. So I just noticed it overall performs better, especially when you start doing these long strands, like it might hallucinate, right? And so that's why after honestly each foundational document, I like just to go to a different shout window, whether you're using Claude or ChatGPT, it doesn't matter. I like doing a fresh one. I just think the context it actually spits out. It's just a lot better. Anyways, so let's go ahead and prompt this. This is for foundational doc number 4. Okay, so we're going over to necessary beliefs and belief ladders. This one's really important. Go ahead and submit this and see what it spits out. All right, cool. So foundational doc number 4 is done. Let's go ahead and delete this real fast. All right, cool. So again, just download it, throw it into your Google Drive, and you are pretty much good to go. Now I'm going to go ahead and bang out the rest of these foundational documents just so you guys aren't watching me copy and paste prompts. But the same thing applies, right? These 4 foundational documents, I'm going to take it over to ChatGPT, Claude, whatever, and go ahead and actually produce the other foundational documents. Again, whenever you guys move on to the next foundational document, you have to give whatever model that you're using all the foundational documents you currently have up to that point. So I'm moving on to foundational document 5. I'm going to give all 4 foundational documents to it. Then with the prompts from a notebook LM, I feed that to chat, then it'll give me my foundational document, and I'll continue moving forward. Anyways, just so you guys aren't watching me copy and paste prompts, I'll see it when it's all done, and we'll actually get into working and creating some scripts. All right. Now that we have all the foundational documents, when you come over here, I'm going to have this, by the way, this master prompt sheet for you guys linked down below, just so you guys can obviously have it and use it. That's the whole point of this video. The first tab is an overview tab, and the very last one is Claude instructions. I'm going to show you why we actually do this. Okay, so what we're going to do is come down to Claude instructions. We're going to copy this, and now we're going to go create a project on Claude, and I'll walk you through that. So when you come over to Claude, you're just going to title it whatever. So roll it, whatever. This is for scripts/copy and create project. All right, so now when we're in a project, whenever you guys are using Claude. Oh, by the way, projects is just over here. Just click that tab. It'll take you to that window that you just saw. Whenever you guys are going to be moving forward and writing more script or copy or whatever, just come into this project and already have all the context and all the work that you just done. So, no context really gets lost. Okay. So that's really important. So, all right, let's come over here. Instructions. Obviously, that's where the instructions tab. The reason why we're giving instructions, we're telling Claude exactly what we're doing, why we're doing it, and what resources to pull from, i.e. everything, all the work that we've just done. So we're going to take our 10 foundational documents and we're just going to slap it over into here. And let me go ahead and do this. Okay, awesome. Now we have all of our foundational documents in here. We have the instructions. Now we can go in here into Claude and actually just talk to it, right? Very casual conversation. You don't need to do crazy prompting because it has all this context. Now, also, if you see up here, these two sheets I have in here, these are what we pulled from Trend Tracker. Okay, so these are the competitor scripts and angles. And so what Claude is going to do is going to go ahead and do deep analysis for us on the angles. Now, obviously, with ChatGPT, when we did the first analysis, or I believe it's Claude actually, just see if there was gap in the markets. Awesome, we proved that first. Now it's going to have a lot more context about our product, customer avatars, etc. Doing a deep dive into the competitors analysis on where they're currently at with their creative production to see what angles we can actually start testing with. Now, before we go ahead and do this, what I like to do, so I also build out a spreadsheet, and this spreadsheet is very simple, right? So it's just AliExpress, link to the product, and then Facebook competition links. Okay, so what I'm going to do is come to here. Yeah, so this spreadsheet pretty simple. I just like to keep track of my competitors, just so I can keep tabs on them. And so what we're going to do inside of here, let this populate. And all right, so once we have this, what I like to do is pop open their store. And for all my competitors, I'm going to go ahead and use this Chrome extension, go full page. And what's it going to do is going to go ahead and take a screenshot of the entire page. It's going to crawl the entire page and take a screenshot. Okay. So once we have that, we're just going to download this PDF. And then we're going to go back to our Claude project. And you see here, I already done that. I have all 6 of my competitors already populated in here. So Claude can actually do some deeper analysis on our competitors. So it has the competitors' landing pages, our best competitors' scripts and angles. Then what I like to do before I really start prompting Claude, I like to go into here and see what creative styles these guys are running. Now, this isn't a quick 5-minute breeze look by it. All right. We're actually doing deep analysis on this for around like 10 to 15 minutes. Okay. Maybe even longer. Okay. So I like to come in here and see exactly what styles that they're doing. All right. These are just ripped Halo data creatives. Uh, it looks like they're all ripped Halo data. So that means there's plenty of gap in the market to actually go in here and formulate some really good creatives. All right, so they're all around like that 30-second mark to a minute mark to 19 seconds, which is pretty standard. Okay, cool. Okay. So just a lot of UGC, which is fine. They're not using any like AI at all when it comes to their actual creative production. Maybe their image ads, even their image ads are really bad. Like, what the hell is this? Yeah, I mean, so so these guys are, whatever. They're just obviously beginner, which is fine. I mean, these guys are a little bit more well put together, but still, there's a lot of just um, these guys are locking a lot more image ads. That's cool. Still a lot of UGC, which is not bad, but leaves us a lot of room in the market to actually do. Okay, cool. All right, they're testing out some AI creatives. That's cool. A lot more image ads with these guys, so that's interesting to write down. These guys are doing a lot more image ads. And again, a lot of just ripped UGC from Kilo Data. So if we come in here and formulate really well put together scripts with our unique positioning and knowing the customer audience better than they know them, with well formulated ads, we have a very, very good shot of out competing them. Okay. So yeah, these guys are running a lot of image ads, which is cool. Easy to test. Nice. Man, mostly image ads. That's crazy. I haven't seen a brand do mostly image ads in a while. That's pretty interesting. All right. So once we have a very good understanding of the competitor analysis now, we kind of analyze their creatives, their structures, what they're doing. And to be honest, none of them are really running any type of editing formats at all. It's just UGC or image ads, which is fine. Maybe that's just what this market likes. But we're going to come into Claude and we're just going to ask it to first do analysis, a gap analysis of our competitive landscape and map it to our product and see where are the current current gaps actually are and what angles can we actually rock with. So, and then I just go ahead and give this prompt. You can go ahead and read this. I literally just went ahead. All right, so just give it that prompt and send it on its way. Let's see what it comes back with. All right, so Claude just got done, and so I'm going to kind of just show you what it spat out. Okay, so obviously starting off, like it tells you what hooks, obviously that they're rocking with. Overall synthesis of the competitive landscape, mechanism depth of how they're actually utilizing the product and selling it, obviously, and how we can actually fit in authority figures. This one is really important. Doesn't really look like there is really any authority figure. The only thing that they're actually using for authority figures is literally just UGC creators. So no real competitors there, or sorry, authorities there. Landing page analysis. This is why I fed it because this is really important. So one, we're going to win on our scripting, we're going to win on our creatives, but we're also going to win on branding and what they're actually missing inside of their landing page. So these are some bullet points that Claude actually recommends for us to go ahead and throw it into our landing page, just so it honestly just converts a whole lot better. All right, cool. So after I did a competitor analysis, what I wanted to do is go ahead and give me 5 unaware angles so that we can actually tap into, and 5 just a more like middle of funnel slash aware audiences that we can tap into as well. So we can get a decent competitive landscape and see what angles they can actually produce. So with this, the first angle, it's kind of funny. So now with this product is more so geared towards women. So the shower drain, wake up, realizing you have hair in the drain, ponytail test, pretty good for this. Stress, the stress tax on your hair's pain. I like that one a lot. Angle 4 for unaware. Your hairdresser noticed but didn't say, ooh, ooh, that is really good. So I like this one the most. So I went ahead and copied this. So what you want to do is just go ahead and copy this and then kind of work your way down. I already prompted it. So scroll down. I was all right, now go ahead and map out 3 to 5 scripts for this angle. What the reason for this, I like mapping out the actual scripts before we write them, because if you just have to go right into writing the scripts, normally doesn't produce as well if it fully maps it out. So I had it fully map out one of the scripts, and I stopped it before it produced the other one. So it fully mapped it out. Then I went ahead and copied the first one, and I came down here. I was like, all right, I'll go ahead and fully write out the script for this. Now it's going to actually produce as a well-formulated script that we can go and test. All right, cool. Claude went ahead and gave us a script. So just going to copy and paste this over to 11 Labs, and let's see what it produces. Nice. Yeah, this is very well put together, unaware script. So yeah, this is basically how I formulate scripts whenever I'm going about this. So yeah, have fun with this foundational documents, guys. I know it's a little bit intensive and it does take a while to actually put it all together, but once you do the work once, it just pays for itself because you have all that information inside of Claude, and you can just rinse and repeat this with testing different angles and scripts and beating out your competitors. So this is what I've been doing for a while, guys. I hope you guys enjoy it. Let me know if you guys want anything else when it comes to for videos. If you guys want to, go over, editing, if you guys want, talk about AI agents and stuff like that, stuff I'm building, that's pretty cool. Anyways, yeah, any of that stuff. So yeah, just let me know down in the comments. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoy this. And I know if you guys actually do this and take the steps and take the time to do this, I know it will make you guys a lot of money this year. So really hope you guys enjoy this. Until next time.